Hello, everyone. My name's Alex Namath, and I'm joined today with Elisa Laird.
Yeah.
Thanks for voice. She's the voice behind the camera, and today she's in front of the camera. So thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome. It's fun.
So we're here at Encore, and this is another segment of our Caregiver Survival Guide. And today we're going to talk about dignity.
Dignity, always dignity. It reminds me of Singing in the Rain. Why is dignity or respect important as you care for your loved one?
So I think it's really, really important out there because dignity is something that, we're born with, right? And over time, dignity or self-respect, you can use those sort of interchangeably, becomes a part of us, becomes part of our purpose. And it's who we are. And we create that dignity by doing the things and saying the things that we do. We may go to church to try to help people. We may donate money to causes because we want to help a cause, which ultimately will help people. So the dignity we're talking about then is that dignity that we have. And now that dignity oftentimes can be challenged for the caregiver because they've got to make sure that they're still giving their loved one the dignity that they deserve, that they've always given them anyways.
And because of how this condition is, right, then it can create some role reversals in a spouse, in a partnership. You're on equal playing field, but then once a diagnosis happens, somebody's got to be in charge and care and make sure everybody's safe and all the things are getting done. In the same way, if it's a child and a parent, then all of a sudden, in some ways, the child becomes the person who's parenting the parent, even though they don't want to parent the parent.
That's right.
And so how do you go about in those dichotomies to still maintain respect, dignity, self-respect?
Yeah, which is not easy.
No.
Not easy.
Because it's real easy in the course of everything, all the little things that you have to do for the disease to become your loved one's identity and not themselves.
That's right. So I think part of that is that maybe you have to help them with their new dignity as they're challenged by the disease going forward. So for the instance of the husband and the wife, the husband's always in charge of finances, right? And oil changes and all the things that guys do in a relationship. As you described, there's a role reversal that goes on. The person, in this case, the husband's no longer able to do the financial work and get the oil changed in the cars. So it's going to be then up to the spouse in this case to take on those responsibilities, knowing that their loved one who had built much of their self-respect on doing those things can't do them any longer. So now we start to do those things and reward our loved one through random acts of kindness, through love and all the things that we've talked about, in giving them opportunities to be successful.
Okay, so what does that look like in your example?
So what they couldn't do before was do the finances. Today, they may be able to sort the coins that you have stored in the closet that they haven't been able to do before. That's still a financial task, right? It's not of the level before. We're not trying to balance the bank, but yet we're doing something that hopefully can bring joy to the person with the disease, to the husband, and also can contribute in a way that makes them feel good about themselves to help build up, again, their self-respect and their dignity.
So what would it look like with the oil change? I'm curious.
The oil change might be nothing more than it's time to get the oil changed. The wife has decided when, because she needs to do that. She brings her husband with her to the oil change place. She's driving, he's there. And she goes to him to say, got to get oil changed. What kind of oil do you think we should get? Should we get Valvoline or should we get Pennzoil?
So he still has a stake and a voice in the process. He's just not having to do
That's right. And he can't remember before that he was the one that drove to get the oil changed and made all the decisions about it. He may think at that point, that's the decision I always made. And of course, your role is Pennzoil is a great answer. And you know what? They carry Pennzoil. Of course, you know that already. So we got the oil change done, right? And it ended up being a happy experience. And again, made him feel that he contributed to that experience and back to giving him a purpose.
So that's where you're preserving their dignity by still giving them a voice and figuring out a way for them to still participate in the things that are important to them.
That's right. And the trick there, of course, is having them participate in things that they can actually accomplish. So you don't want to give them and ask them questions that they can't accomplish. Hopefully you've learned that through being with them, but yet giving them the opportunity to be able to accomplish them through, a lot of times, give them one of two answers. Or you can lean on the answer of the two that might be out of there as well. But then congratulating them, and congratulating them not like you would your child, where you say, "Good job, Johnny, you made it," or "You got an A." This is about dignity. This is a human being. This is an adult, right? That's got 70 or 80 years of life and experiences in their background. And now making them feel good about making such a simple decision of what kind of oil to use in changing the oil.
So it's like, I'm so grateful that you were here to kind of help me with that, because I know you know this because you've done this for forever. Yeah. I value your expertise.
Right.
I'm grateful for all the times that you've done this before and that you can help me make this decision. Yeah.
And you got to understand that that's going to make them feel good about who they are. And we're all about trying to make this experience of this journey as comfortable as possible.
Okay, so Alex, I love the examples that you gave about helping with the finances and the oil change. But say I'm a caregiver, my loved one has dementia, and I want to honor their dignity. How do I go about reframing my mindset and coming up with these different ways to approach it so that way I preserve their dignity?
Yeah, so the way I like to approach it is, obviously they were good at certain things, and you know what those have been. You've been with them hopefully for a lifetime, or a long time anyways, is then how do I take that skill, right, that they already have, which is help them give themselves self-respect and dignity. How do I represent that, reframe that in another way that gives them the opportunity to still rely and probably draw from some of that knowledge that they still have? Because remember, long-term memory is lasts certainly a lot longer than short-term memory. What then can I pull from that to let them do the task that needs to be done? So hence that oil change in the coins. So I think you have to think of the situations before you get into them to understand how you're going to reframe it. It's pretty hard to do it just on the fly.
Yeah. Until you develop that muscle, probably.
That's right. So think about the situation with the restroom. That's going to be one that everybody's going to face. You're going to be out and your loved one's going to say, "I need to go to the restroom." You're a female, he's a male. How are you going to reframe that so they can maintain their dignity, but yet accomplish the task of having them go to the bathroom? So those are the kinds that you have to think of in advance before you're in the situation, which again allows them to feel good about what got done, because they ended up going to the restroom, because sure enough, you went in the restroom with them. It was a single stall, so it wasn't inconvenient for anybody else. They didn't think it was unusual for you to be in there because maybe you're helping them at home anyways. But we accomplished the task with a task that they had done in the past, and they didn't lose any dignity as a result of that. So it's not easy, not suggesting it is, but the more advanced planning that you can do to think about those opportunities, and that's really what they are. Because again, you're giving them that purpose. You're giving them the fact that they need to be on this earth, and in this case, need to help you with things that need to be done.
And it seems like by approaching these things with dignity, what you're actually doing is rebuilding or reaffirming and reconnecting in the relationship. Because you're thinking about it from what are the things that are important to them that gave them that sense of dignity, and then how can I, in this time frame now, come alongside them and help reinforce that or prop that up in a helpful way right now, given where they're at.
That's right. Yeah, because the journey is unfortunately opposite of your child. Yeah. Your child learns through experience and through tasks and through your acknowledgement and recommendation and achievement. Your loved one now is going to, and we all want it, we all want a pat on the back. You just got to realize that the pats aren't for what you gave them before. They're out there. They're at a task level much simpler than you would expect of a person of the same age or who they would have been without the disease, right?
Which is exactly what makes this so challenging.
That's right.
Because you have all those experiences in the past and you have who they were. And you are looking at someone who's in their 70s, 80s.
That's right. Yeah. So now you're rewarding them and making them feel good about themselves about putting the dishes away.
Mm-hmm. Or setting the table.
Setting the table. You would never think that would be something that would make them feel good because they just always have done it, or I always did it. But now they're doing it, and that's your opportunity again to help boost their self-respect and their dignity.
Do you feel like one of the easiest traps for a loved one or a caregiver to fall into is not factoring in, as they're interacting with their loved one, the dignity component, and then talking to them like a child or talking to them in a different way that then your loved one takes as, not showing them self-respect?
Oh, I think absolutely. Because again, it goes back to, it looks just like he always did. Mm-hmm. And now I'm asking him to do a simple task and he's having a struggle doing that task. Yeah. So you've got to understand what his mental capacity is at this moment in time. And it's only going to get worse. It's not going to get better on the things that he can achieve. And it's okay to continue to ask them to achieve the same things. Mm-hmm. At our center, we used to have the people fold the clothes. Mm-hmm. They love nothing more than feeling the warmth of the clothes coming out of the dryer to fold the towels and fold the napkins on the table. Mm-hmm. That gave them a real self-respect, mm-hmm. made them feel good about themselves, highlighted a task that they used to do in the past. In the past, they probably weren't necessarily rewarded for it, but now we've got the opportunity to do that.
Well, and they're serving the community that they're a part of, too.
That's a good point.
Which is something that probably they don't have a lot of opportunity to do.
Absolutely.
And I think sometimes we forget how much service can be a part of that dignity and giving back.
Mm-hmm. And I think people do more service than they actually give themselves credit for.
Probably.
We all do, right? Someone opens up the door. I know people are trying to be nice to me because I'm old now. I hate when they open the door for me. But at the same time, I realize, well, that's good for them.
Well, sorry, Alex, I won't open the door for you anymore. I'm glad I know that now.
But again, it's providing a service that you may not think mm-hmm. means anything, but it really does.
Yeah, because you're recognizing the dignity in somebody else. You're
right.
honoring and respecting and taking time.
That's right. And that becomes with other videos.
Mm-hmm.
Our videographer has out there 21 of them that talk about communications, mm-hmm. because that's a big part of dignity. So you can't extend dignity to someone talking down on them mm-hmm. because your communication skills are so poor. Mm-hmm. So if you're not doing it with a smile on your face mm-hmm. and touching them on the back, then you're not going to get the response you want. And you're just going through the motions and it's not doing anybody any good.
And then we had another episode about empowering your loved one to serve in the home in some different mm-hmm. ways. So that may give you guys some ideas too on some things that you can incorporate.
That's right. And remember, you're going to have to train the people that are part of your support group now. These are going to be the kids. These are going to be your other loved ones that see your loved one on a regular basis and can no longer do the tasks that they've done. I mean, it'll break your heart when you show up with the grandkids and grandpa can't remember their names. Mm-hmm. Well, that's just the beginning, right? At some point, they're not going to remember their names. They're not going to remember who they are.
Yeah, in relation.
That's right. So the dignity is, right, hey, Grandpa, look who's here. Michael's here today. Mm-hmm. Feeding them the answer to make him feel good about it mm-hmm. gives him self-respect and dignity that he deserves.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's got to be hard to be in their shoes, too.
That's right.
Well, we hope this has been really, really helpful. As always, we want to provide interesting, thought-provoking content that helps you on your caregiving journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Lisa, for joining us today.
No problem. It's been great.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, you all.